Coming up on this episode of Don't Panic, we're going to catch up on the last 2 weeks of news, including what we did over our Labor Day, the results of the Up for Debate Summer Movie League, and of course the Big Apple event, from wireless earbuds to phones with 2 cameras. We're going to cover it all on this very exciting edition of Don't Panic, so stick around because it's going to start right now. This is Don't Panic, episode number 141, recorded September 12th, 2016, on AirPods, Fusion chips, and Taptic engines. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that's celebrating kickoff weekend. I'm Sean Jenks, joined as always by 2 future Hall of Famers, Dan Miller and Colby Rabideau. I think they're going to be first ballot.
The only reason I knew that football started this weekend was because of your Instagram picture of all your monitors.
I'm your one nerd friend. I consider that a big honor.
Yeah. Well, that's not true.
Yesterday, grounded in the real world.
Yesterday, I was hanging out with a Jets fan, and he was very sad.
Yeah, it was not.
Oh, did it not go well for the Jets yesterday?
It was tough and it was close. The worst kind of defeat. And stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
I remember in 2012, or maybe it was 2011 or 2012, I was also with him. We were in Disney World, and I was just constantly... And he was getting so angry because we were there for a week and they lost like 3 games in that 1 week. And
which is impressive because they don't even play 3 football games in a
leave
week.
it to the Jets.
Maybe just one really bad game they lost. I didn't stop hearing about it for the entire week, but it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is that time of year, and I promise we won't talk about it on the show because this show is about technology and not about sports. So that would be totally fair. Changing off of sports, let's talk about our Summer Movie League, which is kind of like sports, but it's not. I want to briefly mention, if you watch the show over this summer, we've mentioned it occasionally, on the Up for Debate show at upfordebate.tv, the 3 of us, along with Mike and Matt, did a Summer Movie League where we each drafted a slate of summer films. We got the domestic box office gross. We totaled up the dollars at the end. Guys, the summer is officially over. It is September 12th, sadly enough, and the results are in. Would you like to know how you did?
Oh, yeah. I might already know because I looked at the tweet.
Yeah, I tweeted it, but here we go. Announcing the results. In 5th and last place, with a modest $508 million, Dan Miller. Cheers to you, Dan.
Ooh.
In 4th place, with $653 million, Matt. In 3rd place with $710 million, Colby. In 2nd place with $884 million, coming in at the last minute, Mike. And in 1st place with more than double Dan's gross at $1.162 billion, Sean Jennings. This guy.
Wow.
Your champion. Touchdown. It's good.
Yeah. How about Mike's comeback at the end there? That was pretty impressive.
You know, it's not an uncommon strategy for people to hold off all their dollars and just pick up like 6 movies right at the end of the summer, because those movies do make money. I mean, we saw what Suicide Squad did. I think over 300.
Yeah.
Did 307. Jason Bourne 158. Star Trek 156. So it's not crazy for end of summer movies to make money.
Nice. Was that Pete's Dragon? Did Pete's Dragon do well?
No.
It wasn't Dan's. It wasn't even Dan's second worst
Dan's?
movie. It was Dan's 3rd worst movie. Believe
Isn't
it or
that
not.
good?
No, that's bad because you only had 4 movies. So if Pete's
So it was my 2nd best movie. Frame it more positively.
Well, all right, it was your 2nd best movie. It made $70 million.
It got pretty good reviews too.
Well, next year we'll score on reviews.
All I know is there were during the Olympics there were 2 commercials. One of them was for Coke and the other one was for Pete's Dragon.
They did advertise a lot.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much they spent on that.
$65 million, it says.
Wow, made a big $5 million on that. Wow.
No, I think next year we should have like just total gross, and then we should have the Rotten Tomatoes percentage. You just apply the total gross of your movies. You take the Rotten Tomatoes score percentage of that. So if a movie makes $100 million but only gets a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, you only get $10 million of those dollars. And then we have 2 winners. those who like back like the correct critics to popularity ratio, and those that just straight out gross one.
But what worries me, I like the idea on paper, and I'd really have to go crunch the numbers. What worries me about that is films like Captain America, that are big box office, pretty good Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Yeah, those are still valuable.
Well, but they become even more valuable.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. Is I think they're going to be oversized next year. I guarantee we've got Spider-Man, Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 2. What else? We've got a couple big movies next year that I think are also going to be critically well liked. Yeah. I'd worry the balance would be too far off, but I'd have to look and see how
you can switch it up in like the inverse of the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Oh, so you get a bonuses for shittier movies.
So the worse your movie is, the more percentage of the total you get.
Oh, to make up for the loss in box office.
But the better it is, the less money you get.
That would be really crazy.
So like if the Rotten Tomatoes was 99%, you'd only get 1% of the earnings.
That's diabolical. that can't be right. I would... Yeah, again, that's not a terrible idea, but we'd have to look and see how that would affect the outcome.
I agree.
Yeah, so we're doing this next summer then, it sounds?
You guys are in for it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought that was...
We need to get one more person so Sean can't play.
Yes, yes. I agree. I'm more than happy to be commissioner.
That dude's OP.
I want to be undefeated.
Nerf Sean.
Get me out of here. Well, congratulations to all the players for playing. We appreciate everybody for joining us.
Oh, was there going to be a prize if someone besides you didn't win?
Yeah, there was going to be a trophy and a $10 gift certificate to the Palace Diner, which nobody except me gets. And if I get around to making a trophy, because the idea was to have the trophy and then to get mailed to the winner each year. Right. And it'd be the same trophy. So if I get around to making it for next year.
So now you've got another year to make a trophy.
I got another year to put that off because I know exactly what I want to make. I'm just too lazy to do it. So.
Okay.
And I will
How are you going to acquire the $10 Palace Diner gift card, though?
Oh, I will fly, and you have to be there in person, and I will buy you $10 worth of Palace. my gift to the winner. It'd be my honor. However, I won, so I don't have to do that. Who knows what the prize will be next year? Maybe something you actually want. So, because I want to make sure we have time to move on, I just will quickly mention, the highest grossing movies of the summer, of course, Finding Dory, Captain America, Civil War. And would you guys like to know, just as a fun fact, just because I like to be just awful, who got the worst values of the summer, the worst and best values of the summer? So when you take what they paid by bid versus what they got at the box office?
Yeah,
I would love to know that.
Well, the best deal came me with The Jungle Book, which I paid $9 and got the third highest grossing movie of the summer.
We definitely did not respect The Jungle Book.
I didn't think it was going to do that much. So believe me, I was just as blown away. And wait, hang on. I just barely beat him. Matt paid $9 for Secret Life of Pets, $361 million.
Oh, wow.
I think a surprise.
That's interesting. Did any of you see Secret Life of Pets? Because I thought it looked kind of fun, but
the reviews that I saw were just like average kid movie reviews. Its advantage was that the weekend it came out, Finding Dory was already waning in theaters, and there wasn't any other kids' fare. Like, you're not going to take your kid to see Independence Day or The Purge. So I think it soaked up a lot of those kid dollars that weekend. Smart placement by the movie company.
The only movie I saw this summer was Captain America.
Captain America, which you paid $39 for.
Yep.
It's hard to make money on that. Now, the worst values of the summer, congratulations, because the two of you hold that honor. Colby, you got... you paid $8 for Popstar, and it made $9 million. Almost a 1-to-1 ratio. Dan, I wouldn't start laughing because you paid $12. This was a textbook rookie move. $12 for Hardcore Henry, and for each one of those dollars, you earned $771,000. A $9 million gross.
Yeah.
The lowest grossing movie of the summer.
Wow.
But anyway, congratulations to all of our players. I thought it was an exciting time, and we will definitely, I think, do it next summer. I know there were whispers about doing it in the winter. You
discouraged me from that idea.
I haven't looked at what's coming out, to be honest.
Okay.
So that's what's going to... It might be more interesting because it looks like starting this year and in future years, there's going to be a lot more Christmas-type big blockbuster releases, so it might make it a more attractive opportunity. But I will look and we will see. But you can go to upfordebate.tv for more. Now, one quick thing I want to mention, of course, to everyone watching us live on Facebook right now, facebook.com/don'tpanicshow. We do it live Monday nights at roughly 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And you can join along, chat with us. If you post in the comments on Facebook, we see it during the show. Give us your thoughts, your opinions, your questions, and we might just talk about it on air. And we appreciate you doing that again at facebook.com/don'tpanicshow. I do too many of these. And guys, before we get to the news, is there any kind of personal chit-chat nonsense you want to get to, or you want to jump right into the news? Dealer's choice.
I
don't have
got
anything in
nothing.
particular.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot of news, so
Right, yeah.
I don't, this usually, the Apple announcements tend to be our longest shows of the year, so I guess there's no
let's
shame
get
in
to
just
it.
getting
Yeah.
to it. And that would be, of course, I guess we've got to, unless you guys want to start with
Nah.
Google
You
canceling
can't
the modular
pull
phone.
one like that.
No,
No.
you don't want to.
You can't tease the audience like that. These
what
poor
was the-
people at home.
There was a stupid story I was going to put in as a joke as the lead story. What was it? Oh, it was some nonsense announcement. I think it was Apple's giving away like 10 movies for $10 on iTunes to sell their 10 years.
yeah.
I was like, that was going to be the lead story, but no, we're going to talk about the actual Apple announcement. Their event last week on Wednesday, where they announced a whole host of things. Guys, you want to just freeform it? You want to go down the list in order?
Let's go chronological here.
Well, the article I'm looking at isn't chronological, but I'll try to remember as best I can. We started...
Okay, you better remember the first most important thing that happened.
Oh, that's right. Tim Cook announced they had sold a lot of iPhones.
No,
Like
he
any
didn't
good
announce
Apple
that,
announcement.
right?
No, I think he said they've sold to date 100 billion
Okay.
iPhones.
It was a lot.
It was
Okay.
like a stupid high number.
That's not what I'm thinking of.
No.
Many iPhones, and none of them have exploded on an airplane.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, maybe that's
Burned
not
down
true.
someone's
I was
car.
about to say there is an asterisk on that. We hope. No, you're talking about the Apple Watch, right, Dan?
No.
Oh no, what are you talking about?
Mario?
Nintendo. Yeah.
No, they didn't do Apple Watch before they did iOS.
No, I think Nintendo
think-
was first.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it because I wasn't watching. I was
think
doing the
so.
live blog, so that's fine. Hey, look, it's our
Maybe
show.
not.
We can do it in any order we want.
All right, let's start with Nintendo.
Let's start with Nintendo.
Screw these people.
So there's this little game, maybe you've heard of it, called the Pokemon Goes, and you can play it on your iPhone, and it's very popular with the kids. Well, good news, it's coming to the Apple Watch. For starters, you'll soon be able to play Pokemon Go on your Apple Watch. You won't be able to catch them directly from the watch, but you will get visual feedback that a Pokemon is nearby, yeah, that's exciting, I suppose.
And what other announcement did
The
Nintendo-
other big announcement from the fine folks at Nintendo is that Super Mario Brothers is coming to iOS in the form of Super Mario Run. It's a 2D platformer, but it's a little mixed in a little bit with Endless Runners, and they say you'll be able to play it one-handed. There's also a multiplayer of sorts where players can compete to collect coins on a map. It's coming out by the holidays, no set firm date. And it's only on iOS. Interestingly enough, you can
I thought
currently...
they said October.
That would be entirely possible. I'm going to double check that.
And I didn't watch the video, but I saw that the guy who wrote Mario, the person who came up on stage and tried to speak English and then spoke in Japanese, I don't know if you caught any of that. He had a video he posted on Twitter today of him playing the game with one hand and lifting like weights, like doing bicep curls with the other hand. He's
Awesome.
the coolest guy.
That's badass. Yes, according to The Verge, December.
Okay, December.
That's a
long
but you can
time.
go into the App Store now and actually have it notify you when
Right.
it becomes available, a sort of pre-order.
Yeah.
They
Click
have
that
said
button.
they have said that it will cost money, but that it will be upfront. There will be no in-app purchases or in-app upgrades. It will simply be a flat price. So what do we think about Super Mario Run for iOS?
I click the notify button. I'll buy it.
You're excited.
I mean, I feel like it's perfect timing. We're getting into close to the time of year where I spend 2 hours a day like locked in a metal box underground in Boston.
What are they
What?
having you do at work? This sounds
on the
awful.
train.
Are
The
you
train.
in trouble or something?
Commuting.
Although, to be honest, the best place to be in Boston in the winter is underground. So I can't really say it's a bad thing.
You get a snowmobile, Colby.
That'd be cool.
Or like a sled with some sled
I have
dogs.
seen people riding those like mountain bikes with the huge like 3-inch tires around. I could get one of those too. I think that'd be
Awesome.
cool.
Badass.
You can also put chains on your bicycle tires. You can do this.
That sounds exhausting.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I might look into that. It probably doubles the weight of my bike, though.
Yeah.
Your legs will be ripped. They'll be so full.
Do they have winter tires for bicycles?
Well, they have off-road tires. I would assume they
Yeah.
offer the same function. I'd like studded tires. I would hope not. That sounds really dangerous. Because I don't think you could get enough traction on those on the narrow treads with
Yeah.
studs.
Slipknottraction.com. You can get the chains for your bike tires.
It's good to see the band Slipknot extending that brand there.
Right.
Staying relevant. Thanks, Slipknot.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm about finished playing Alto's Adventure at this point, which I've been playing for almost an entire year on the train now. So
Oh my god!
I
got a
one
solid
year.
like month or two out of Alto's Adventure, but wow.
Props.
I rotate,
Yeah.
I rotate between Alto's Adventure and the Crossy Road
Mhm.
and Freeze. And
You
that's
still
it.
play threes? Oh my
Yeah.
god, I have such mobile game ADD. Threes was like years ago. That was forever ago.
I played like the one with the plane for a while, like Skyforce or something. I played that
I played the one where you're like on like the ISO view and you can rotate the world around. It was really
Oh
fun.
yeah. Monument Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that one was good,
I finished it.
but it
Yeah.
ended. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Unlike this Super Mario Brothers game, that game actually ends. But I'm excited they're not doing stupid in-app purchase bullshit. You just pay upfront. I think they said there are in-app purchases, but if you're paying upfront, I imagine like you can just play the game. Like, you're not buying like power-ups or
Yeah,
anything.
that
like
was their
like,
point.
Buy extra levels.
You didn't need to pay to play.
Yeah. So I'm on board. At Pokemon Go, I don't get it. Still don't get it. Seems like other people are finally starting to agree with me. So, although when I did try playing it, would have been much easier on the watch because otherwise you have to keep the app open on your phone to catch the things. So this would be much.
Sounds great for your battery.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why you need the new Apple Watch. And the new iPhone. Gotta keep
Speaking
that.
of the new Apple Watch,
Speaking of the new, so Super Mario
That
Run, look for that
actually
coming soon. Yes, in order. Second generation of Apple Watch, what they're calling Apple Watch Series 2. Because they just can't be consistent with the naming, ever. Remember the new iPad? I missed that.
yeah.
That was an awesome one. Thought they could get away from numbers, suckers. Let's see. It includes the following. A brighter screen. Tell me if this sounds familiar. A better battery. A faster processor. It now comes in a different color, white ceramic. It has new bands. And it will cost $369. Now, the good news is if you're not willing to pay that, you'll be able to buy the original watch as a cheaper alternative. And as a bonus, you're going to get the faster processor in the old watch, and it's going to be $269. Pre-order starting September 9th.
That's a great deal.
Available in late October. And if you're looking for an even crazier deal, and this is crazy, I don't know if they still are, but I know not long after this announcement, Best Buy was liquidating the original Apple Watches as produced originally, and those were under $200.
I would pay the extra $80-$90 for the new processor. What did they say? It's like over twice as fast. And on the processor this slow, that makes a huge difference.
It's the S2 chip dual core processor that's 50% faster than the previous one.
And it has 2 cores, though.
Yes, correct, exactly.
Yeah. And it's 50% faster. So, yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah. You missed the most important hardware announcement.
I know this was your favorite.
Oh, did we already talk about this?
Game nights, I think we did.
Game nights, yes, thank you. You reminded me.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
The watch is now waterproof.
Yeah,
With
so the watch is now
explain
waterproof, and they have... But they were like, we can't cover up the speaker because if you cover up the speaker, it sounds terrible, but we can't leave it not covered up because if we don't cover it, water gets in the speaker if you go swimming with it. So the solution is they developed like a frequency that they can play out of the speaker that ejects all the water from the speaker hole. I really want to be in that engineering meeting where they're sitting around and be like, God, how can we make the speaker sound good and still keep it waterproof? And someone goes, wait, speakers move. We can just push the water out with vibrations.
Like, in retrospect, it does seem kind of obvious. A little bit, where you're like, just turn the speaker up really loud and it'll blow the water out. And it's like, yes, obviously. Why didn't I think of that?
I wonder if this has been done before. It seems like it probably has.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me that she's seen pieces of art that use speakers and like will have water in the speaker, and you can play sounds out of the speaker to like make the water do crazy things in the air. So this property of like sound on water is well known, but perhaps not to like computer hardware engineers. They probably aren't that used to working with water.
True.
So, anyways, it's really cool. That was my favorite part of the entire announcement. Was that slide about. Yeah, that was really cool.
That's when Apple's at its best, I think, when they take really simple problems and come up with really neat solutions to them.
Yes.
We'll talk about AirPods in a minute if that is the unique solution to a problem that they created. Okay. But
I have
But before we get to that, I'll also mention, by the way, that they it is water resistant up to 50 meters. They also announced a Nike version of the watch as well that will have all kinds of extra exercise features, but because I don't move, I didn't pay any attention, so I don't remember what... Oh, it also has built-in GPS. That was the other thing I forgot as well. So if you're not connected to your phone, it will still track you via GPS, so there's no escaping Big Brother.
So, by the way, at 50, you said 50 meters, right?
50 meters.
Yeah, you can use this for like most recreational dives.
Yep.
And diving computers are more expensive than that.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's not water resistant, it's not splash proof. It is waterproof. It is like sealed. They had one of those nice blowout diagrams where they show all the places they put rubber and things to make it all airtight. So,
pretty cool.
A neat engineering
And if they expose to the developers that it knows when you're in the water, you could if someone's not doing this, I should quit my job and do it because you can make a killing. Charge $100 for $50 or something for an Apple Watch diving computer app, because all these things do that you put on your wrist is they tell you how long you've been in the water and like if you need to go back up. Yeah.
I don't know,
so
Dan.
easy.
There you go.
So easy.
It's so easy, even you could do it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
As long as they have that API, that then yeah, I could totally do it.
Nice.
Good deal.
What do you two think of the ceramic Apple Watch?
Oh, it looks so cool. I was really excited because I was like, great, I'll just get that color. And then I went on the store and saw that it was $1,200.
Yes, it's only in the fancy edition.
But that is 1/10 of the price of the old fancy edition. So
which they don't have anymore. You can't get the gold ones anymore.
Right, right.
They discontinued
limited
them.
time offer.
Turns out it's not a good idea to offer a $10,000 watch that a year later is obsolete. Wah, wah.
Think about how big a collector's item those are now.
Yeah, for like $50. I mean, come on. How much? What's the gold worth? That's about how much they're worth.
So
it's worth a lot.
Yeah. So I read an interesting article that was suggesting that that ceramic is the future for like iPhones and stuff.
Could be.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Apparently, modern ceramic is not prone to cracking, like you would assume it is, and like glass is.
Right.
But it's like uh, just as lightweight as aluminum, but looks as cool as glass does.
And
So
it's also stronger than aluminum, and like has better like heat properties. I guess
Yeah, ceramic has really good heat properties.
right where it, like I mean that's what they used in the space shuttle to like on the bottom, so when it's like re-entering the atmosphere, it doesn't burst into flames. I thought that was interesting.
Maybe look
yeah,
for
that would be great.
iPhone 8.
The iPhone 8, I guess we're gonna call it. It'll have all these things people are talking about: the edge-to-edge glass, maybe even some black ceramic. Like I was surprised they didn't offer the new Apple Watch in black ceramic as well as white ceramic. Maybe in the later, because they updated it midway through this year with new bands and stuff, right? So maybe they'll do that again this year.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll hold a March event. I guess it depends if they do a Mac event prior to Christmas, which you think they would, because that's when they sell a lot of them. And we know that we're getting new Macs, so...
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be cool. I would like a ceramic iPhone.
Me too.
Agreed.
Speaking of iPhones...
iPhone 7. Yes. Unsurprisingly, they announced a new iPhone in September. Who could have thunk? It's like you can't predict these things. Here's
oh my god, iOS 10 comes out tomorrow?
Yeah, get psyched. You remember?
Sorry,
Well, no, hey, we can. It's got all those new things. Siri, which now people can plug into. It's got iMessage is open to developers. It's got more widgets and better notifications, which are really going to play well with Force Touch. It's got extended continuity with Mac, things like Universal Clipboard, which will come out with Mac OS Sierra, which comes out the 20th of this month as well.
Wicked.
So get psyched for that. That'll be a big... iOS 10 is going to be a big visual update. It's not like iOS 9, which was a little more like under-the-hood features kind of thing. I mean, this is going to change how the notification center looks, how the action center looks, how a lot of UI stuff works. So it'll be a noticeable change for people.
Nice.
And I can't believe it's here tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to rush to upgrade.
Ooh, no?
I might do my iPad and hold off on the phone.
I think if I had a Force Touch device, I'd be a little more excited, but... Well, we'll talk about upgrades.
I'll upgrade immediately on my phone, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, Dan, take one for the team. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I will.
What could go wrong?
Things. Yeah. iPhone 7. So here is the very high level of what they announced. Two versions, the 7 and the 7 Plus, 4.7-inch, 5.5-inch, same as before. They added a new color, jet black, and they changed space gray to black. I like space gray better. A 25% brighter display with a wider color gamut for better color management. They get stereo speakers, so you not only get the speaker at the bottom, but they also get the earpiece is now a full speaker. The A10 Fusion chip, which is faster than the A9 chip. It is water and dust resistance. It no longer has a clickable home button. It is no longer mechanical. It is instead Force Touch with Taptic feedback, kind of like the trackpads on Macs. They say that the button will even buzz with feedback for things like messages and calls, which is weird because I don't like keep my finger on the button all the time, so I don't know when you would use that. But okay. And of course, the probably biggest piece of this announcement. They removed the antenna lines from the back of the phone. You will no longer see them. It is now one continuous piece of aluminum. And that's it. That's the iPhone 7.
No.
I see what you did there.
Also, it has better battery life than the previous phone for the first time in like 4 years.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I was pleased to hear that.
Due in part to the processor, which actually has two different types of the whole processor has two different types of processors in it: two high-powered ones and two low-powered ones, which is really interesting. I haven't ever heard of a computer doing this before, and I wonder if the operating system is able to like delegate things to that, because almost every app on my phone every app on an iPhone 6 can probably run just as well on the low-powered things on the 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe just only use them for games, maybe? Or, like, web browsing can get kind of CPU intensive, too. And then leave, like, text messaging and all that, maybe, like, all those other things to the... it'll be interesting. But it claims to have 2 hours better battery life on the small one and 1 hour on the new one.
Yeah,
or
something
the
like
big
that.
one. Yeah.
Something like that.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it is quite interesting when you get a company that makes the hardware and the software down to the chips themselves. They can get a little more creative with how those are set up and operate, especially with the OS. Yes, of course, the big change. Yes, relax, calm down, take a deep breath, breathe into a paper bag. No more headphone jack. It's gone, kaput, it's gone. Lightning is the future. Wireless is the future. Headphone jacks are the past. As Apple said, they had the courage to move forward and get you to buy a $9 adapter. That if you want to...
It comes with a $9
It comes with the
adapter.
first one. Comes with the first one. If you lose it, or you need a second one, you got to get another adapter. And
you want to put 2 in there?
if you want,
A spare button on a button-up shirt?
if you want to charge and listen to music at the same time, you will need a $40 adapter to do that. So,
I didn't even think they sold that adapter.
oh, they absolutely do. It is available on the Apple Store. I think Belkin makes it, but Apple stocks it in Apple stores, and they basically said that's their official adapter. It's basically one Lightning plug-in, and then it's got a square piece, and then on that side there's essentially two Lightning ports. Or two. I don't know if it's two Lightnings or one Lightning and a old headphone jack. I'm not sure. I know that there is an adapter you can get that's a Lightning and regular headphone, and I think there's one that makes it two Lightning.
See, okay.
Dongles.
Now, if they shipped the dual Lightning and the headphone, that I think would have been even better than what they did. But Apple is not known for shipping adapters with their shit anyways. They didn't ship a 30-pin to Lightning adapter when they released the first iPhone with Lightning ports.
Nor did they, and I had forgotten about this one. Now, do you remember the very original iPhone had a headphone jack controversy because it was recessed into the phone, and so they actually had to sell an adapter, but they sold it. They did not give it away with the phone.
Yeah. Right. So, I think this is much better than it could have been. But, yeah. Also, I think better would have been to include a 2-to-1 Lightning thing. Because, okay, I don't know if I should say this after someone makes an argument for why this was a bad idea, or say it first. Which one do you want? Do you want me to say it now?
Are you expecting somebody to say
maybe,
it's a bad
maybe
idea?
I'll agree. But to anyone who thinks this is a bad idea, I wish they had said this in the presentation, but it was in some news interview afterwards, or some Apple employee said, you can't have single-purpose ports on a phone. It's just wasteful. If it could possibly be done with not a port at all, or a port that can be used for multiple things, you just have to do it that way. Eventually, there will not be space for the headphone jack. It's just a matter of time. And I guarantee you, I'll make this bet with someone. 5 years from now, let's walk into a Verizon store, count all the Android phones, and less than 50% of them will have headphone jacks.
And that doesn't bother me. And I absolutely agree that the headphone jack is a legacy port. There's a reason why we don't have 30-pin and serial and some of these old ports that don't exist anymore. I'm all for that. What continues to bother me is that Apple has a proprietary port. So now I have to have one set of headphones that work for my Apple devices that don't plug into my Mac, by the way. Or...
So...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in fact, the Lightning port came out a little bit in advance of micro USB. Is that what we're calling the new? No, what's the new one? USB-C? Is that the small one they use on the MacBook?
But Apple knew it was coming.
You have to assume that they were designing that years before it was released also. They were committed to that. They knew at the iPhone 3G, they're like, you know what we have to do is we have to get rid of this fucking 30-pin thing. It was designed for iPods with disk drives. We have to get rid of it. And Apple's not a company that's going to be like, well, we could make the product better now, or we could wait 3 cycles and make it better 3 years later. Like, no, we'll make it better 3 years before, and we're Apple, so we can do that.
Yeah, but you know what?
I think that was a fair trade-off.
I call BS on that because I would guarantee you that if the Android and the electronics community came to Apple and said, Apple, we want to make Lightning the universal port for all our devices. You've won the war. Lightning is the future. Apple would have never gone for it. They wouldn't have because they don't do that. Or what they could have done, now that they're switching they're dropping the headphone jack, then they should have just gone to USB-C. Their Macs have USB-C.
Yeah, but I think they're already locked in with like the made for iPhone stuff for Lightning.
Well, but you could have said that for 30 pin. So,
But they were locked into that for a decade, whereas they haven't.
How long has Lightning been around? That's been around for
4 years.
4 years, 5 years.
Half a
I think
decade.
they need to give it more time.
I
But I think there will not be 5 years from now. There will be no ports on the iPhone. It will just be wireless charging. That could even happen next year. They could drop the Lightning port entirely.
what's the advantage to
do
doing that? To going from
Because-
one port to 0 ports.
You get more space,
But
and the waterproofing, the dust resistance,
Yes,
the
okay.
shit's not getting in
I'll
there.
give you that.
There's no that thing isn't gonna break. You're not gonna accidentally snap off your lightning cable in the thing, which happens. People sit on their iPhone the wrong way while it's plugged in their pocket, and they snap the lightning port off like a key in a door handle inside their thing.
Who puts their phone in their pocket while it's still plugged in?
People playing Pokemon Go with their
That's
back
so...
characters. Yeah,
They deserve it. They've earned it at that point. They don't deserve an iPhone. Should be broken.
so
So
eventually there are going to be 0 ports, right? No, you don't think so? Oh.
I think that's plausible.
I think
Why? What do you need a port for?
because I don't know if wireless ever gets good enough to completely honestly, I could see a day where there is an iPhone you can wirelessly charge, wirelessly do audio, wirelessly sync stuff over that still has a port because I just don't think
What the hell would you use
People
that
would have said that about internet too, and does your computer have an Ethernet port?
Yes, it
Maybe
does, and I'm
but
using
mine
it.
doesn't. I haven't
I'm
had a
not
computer
kidding
with an Ethernet port for years. I mean,
But
the one
your
I'm on
computer
right
has a
now
port.
has one, but my laptops don't.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying 10 ports. I'm saying 1 port. But I don't know if you can go to 0. That is a whole nother level. That means you can't physically connect anything to that device.
There's no need to physically connect anything.
so
what
here's-
would you connect?
I can't raise my hand because I don't have video. I feel so left out today.
Colby, it's your turn to talk. You go ahead.
The
Stick.
what about the smart port you have on iPads? You can connect.
Sure.
It's more like MagSafey. It's I would imagine much lower profile than something like Lightning, which has a physical connector cost inside, where something like that smart connector is just a contact thing where it's just magnetic on the outside. And yes, I'm sure there are internals for that, but not just wasted space, I guess.
Someday will we get there? I would say not in the next 20 years. I don't think we get there. I really don't.
What?
I really don't, because I just think we're not.
Oh my
I
god,
don't
you're
think,
so wrong, Sean. You're so wrong.
I don't think the technology is.
It's
there.
gonna be next year, 2 years out. What is it? 2016?
I bet you $100 in the next 5 years, iPhone has 0 ports.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet
Okay.
right here,
Now-
right now.
On this show.
On the show, recorded for all of time, 100 U.S. American dollars, 5 years from this moment.
Now, 5 years from now, though, each one of those dollars is going to be worth less than they are now.
And it's
So-
got to be, yeah, well, they'll be worthless in the Trump economy. No, I want, but it's got to be a mainstream phone. I don't want some LG phone that nobody bought. that has
No,
zero ports.
iPhone. How about this? Within 5 years, there will be an iPhone that is released that has 0 ports.
Dude, you could have done 500 on this. I would have taken it, but 100's fine. We'll stick there. Done. I'll take it because I just don't. No way Apple gets there. No way. It took them 10 years to get off a 30 pin.
No, it didn't. How long were they on 30 pin?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So
the
when was the
original-
first iPod released?
2000?
For the iPhone, it was only 2 or 3 generations.
Although no, the original iPod was FireWire.
Right. So, and then the next one after that had the 30 pin though.
Yeah, I just don't see him getting off. I just don't see him going to 0 ports. I just don't. But But then again, you could have probably said 5 years ago, they'll never get rid of the headphone jack. They'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay, good.
Okay, sorry, Colby.
Well, so I mean, you can finish your thought first here. Mine is tangent.
I was about to change to a different topic, namely their AirPods.
Gotcha. I was just gonna say, if we're expecting a Mac event soon, do you think we'll see Macs with Lightning ports?
No, I think that they yeah, I don't think so. They've never had.
Do you think the Macs will still have a headphone jack?
I think probably, but if anything, so the MacBook, if I was to buy the tiny MacBook, I would rather have 2 USB-C ports than a USB-C port and a headphone jack. If they released a new MacBook that just had 2 of those, it'd be great, because I can use one of those for a headphone jack, and I can charge my fucking thing while that's happening. Or I can have 2 things plugged in while I'm on the go, which would honestly never happen. It would only pretty much be for charging. So, yeah, I think they're committed to USB-C on the Mac line.
Well, first of all, I would like to say, oh, look at Dan over here, a guy who wants more ports on his computer, but no ports on his phone. Hypocrite.
Well, if you're going to have ports, that's my point. You may as well have 2 ports that can do multiple things.
I agree with you.
If you gave me the choice between a USB-C and a headphone or 2 USB-C, I would take 2 USB-C.
A headphone jack is not a good port. It's not. It really isn't. Although, again, it really interests me on the iPhone because I was talking with Matt, or I don't know if it was with you guys the other day. What about things like Square card readers or smart thermometers or things that use the headphone jack to transmit information? Very curious. I realize in the future they'll probably go Bluetooth and they'll go wireless, but for now there's a lot of those devices out there, and Apple has claimed they will work via the adapter. Probably, I think was the exact quote, if I read that correctly. So I'm curious that port is used for more than just audio.
But the key, it will definitely work because all of those other things are hacks that transmit sound over the fucking thing.
That's why they said probably, and I probably. No, on the idea of a Mac with a Lightning port, I think it would be, put it this way, on the next Mac, I would say it's more likely that there will be a Lightning port than a headphone port. I think most likely there'll be neither. But I
think most likely it'd be USB-C.
I don't, right. I think there's a reason why AirPods work so well with Mac. It's because they're intending for you to use it with your Mac, and it's not going to just work on the new computers. It's going to work on any Mac that's running the latest version of Mac OS, including older ones, as long as they have Bluetooth. So that would make perfect sense to me if they just decided to phase it out completely. I think adding a Lightning port would be a little odd because you wouldn't really use it. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, you wouldn't really use it for anything other than headphones.
Yeah, or you could have like Lightning to Lightning for your iPhone, I guess. But
can you do Lightning to Lightning? Is
that I don't know.
Science? Is that how physics work? I have no idea.
There's no technical reason why you couldn't, I'm guessing.
It's just data, right? But I don't know what the advantage to be versus doing USB-C to Lightning. So
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk AirPods.
Yeah, so we talked about this. We predicted this. Well, I remember myself specifically predicting this. If they're going to get rid of the headphone jack, they have to fix Bluetooth. I don't think they went as far as I would have liked them to.
But they did the right thing.
Probably.
Again, we talk about them blowing off standards. They could have gone off of Bluetooth and made some custom chip on some custom spectrum that would have only worked with your iPhone, and they didn't. They went with Bluetooth. Now it's, there is an advantage to using it with Apple products because of the software, but it is Bluetooth, and they've said it will work with regular Bluetooth devices.
Yeah. So what it does is it bypasses all of the pairing and the PIN codes with Bluetooth, and as far as I can tell, it actually associates the AirPods with your iCloud account. So as soon as you pair the AirPods with any device you have your iCloud account on, they are available on any of the devices. So you buy these, you pair them with your phone, and they're available on your Mac and your iPad automatically. You can just select them from the sound output box, and it'll switch to them. And this is great. This solved, the multi-device problem was my biggest complaint, because wireless headphones are expensive, and if I'm going to buy a pair of wireless headphones, I returned the ones I bought on Amazon, by the way, because they were awful. They're the wire cutter pick, and they cut out all the time. It was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember if I mentioned this on the show or during the last time we were chatting about this stuff, but my last year at some point I picked those like bone conducting Bluetooth wireless headphones, which worked great. And I took them out this year when I started riding my bike again, and they were terrible. And I don't understand how that happened. So I don't know if there's like some iOS like firmware stuff that was messed up, or if like I need to update the firmware on my headphones to make them not terrible. But they were fine. They were totally fine last year, and they don't work at all now. It's pretty frustrating.
Well, it's kind of amazing in general that we use Bluetooth, frankly, because Bluetooth was intended to be a low data transfer medium. It was never intended for all the things we're using it for. Wi-Fi is way better at that kind of stuff than Bluetooth is. So the fact that we're kind of jerry-rigging all these devices to use Bluetooth is kind of amazing in its own right. And that's why I'm never surprised when it doesn't work as it should, because, that was never the idea.
Yeah. So there are a couple other cool things. They like here's the other big like, oh man, this is such an Apple move, is when they talked about how if you take the headphones know when they're in your ear, and if you take one out, it routes all the sound through the one speaker that you still have in your ear. So you could use that if you're just talking on the phone, or if you want to keep one headphone out so you can like hear what's going on around you. That just works. That does not work with any other pair of Bluetooth headphones that I know of. And also the charging case, which solves the other problem that I specifically remember bringing up on the show. They have to solve the battery life problem, whether that's wireless charging. I thought it was going to be wireless charging. I think this is honestly better. So it comes with this relatively attractive charging, like carrying case, just a plastic thing where you can stick these headphones in. They fit right in. But the entire case is also a battery. So I don't listen to my headphones most of the day. Even when I'm out and about, I'm not listening to them. So if I'm out all day in New York, I might listen to the headphones while I go to the place I'm going. I might put them away in the case and then do whatever. And then I might hop between a bunch of places throughout the day. But most of the time, they're sitting in my pocket in this case charging. And with that, you can get over a day's worth of just straight listening. So I was very happy they solved the charging problem and the pairing problem. So I am definitely going to get these because, well, I'll get them, and if they suck as much as these other ones, I'll return them also. But as long as the audio quality, and not even the quality, it's the consistency, because these things aren't like crazy awesome headphones, then I'll be very happy.
So one thing on the charging case, I feel like it solves two problems, right? It's the charging, and it's also a place to put these tiny headphones that aren't connected to anything anymore. But the kicker is that you always have a reason to put them in the charging case. Like, it's at least for me, I think I would be less inclined to be lazy and not put them in the charging case.
Because totally. I would ditch that case immediately if it didn't charge it.
If it were just a case, like so I don't know.
I have a headphone case right here with no headphones in it.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah. So I was really excited about this. I thought we called it. What do you think, Sean?
Oh my God, I am. So put it this way: when I first heard the announcement, I said the features are great, and a couple you didn't mention as well, Dan. So you hit most of the big one. They do have a microchip in them, so they can do some cool stuff. That includes double tapping to get Siri. As you mentioned, you take one out. It has an infrared sensor that actually knows when it's in your ear and when it's not. One thing I did learn, by the way, do you know how you turn up and down the volume on these?
No.
Well, it's really only two ways. You either do it via the physical buttons on the phone in your pocket, or you double tap and ask Siri to turn it up and down. Not particularly convenient. But
really? I would expect you to, like, it'd be cool if you could slide up.
Yeah. Don't worry, AirPods 2 coming next year. And they also announced Beats headphones, also with the same W1 chip in them that have some of these same features. And they will be $160, available in late October. I absolutely love them. And my one caveat, and I think I mentioned it to some of you guys, was that it's got to be Bluetooth and it's got to work with non-Apple devices, because for me that is an absolute no-go. And
but
Apple has said...
we know that is true.
They know it is true. On the back of the case, the carrying case, there is a button, and that is actually the pairing button to connect the AirPods to your devices. I really, and once we get to the next question, you'll see why this is interesting. I'm very seriously on the verge of wanting to get these. I want to see some of the reviews when they come out, Dan. I think you pointed out well that they've got to be consistent. I think that is the most important thing. I don't even care. They don't have to be like hi-fi sound. They just have to work every time with no dropping or interference, or they've got to really be consistent. If you can do that, I am going to buy them absolutely. I think it's a no-brainer. I love my Apple earbuds. So
it also says it does speech detecting. It can detect
Yes.
when it's in your ear if you're talking.
So it's got a microphone in it, and it will actually... So the microphone, kind of points down, and it
Yeah.
can actually selectively choose what part of the microphone it uses based on what it's hearing, and it will kind of filter out the parts that aren't your mouth. I mean, you would think a little microphone all the way up here, you can kind of see where it'll lie based on my headphone here. Can catch the voice in your mouth if you're walking down the street. They say it works. That would be another great test. I'd like to see the reviews on that.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like that's one thing that was always nice about the Apple wired headphones with the remote, is that you had that remote mic there that mostly worked usually.
yes, a really good idea back in the day when Apple decided to put the controller in line. That worked quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you guys. So from this announcement, Apple Watch, buy, no buy? Dan, you already have one. You're not going to upgrade, right? Are you?
Oh, I already upgraded. Oh, the watch?
The watch.
Oh, no. I didn't upgrade the watch.
All right, not going to upgrade the watch. Colby, you going to get an Apple Watch? Or are you going to stick with your Pebble?
Let me roll back here.
Yeah,
I
go
will wait. I want to see what the WatchOS 2 is like. And then if I find out that like WatchOS 2 on the new watch is so much better, then I might do it. But if I expect to get like a huge usability increase from WatchOS 2, then I'll probably just be happy with that. Sorry, Colby.
That'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick with my Pebble, partially because I'm just going to talk about this now. But one of my picks is Pebble recently did a software update, and it was pretty like regular as far as Pebble software updates go. But they've been working on a JavaScript version of their watch SDK, so they can actually run JavaScript on the phone on the watch now.
Neat.
And so you can build like watch faces and stuff in JavaScript instead of in C, which is like pretty appealing to me. So I've been working on my own watch face just for me, my own personal watch face. Yeah, but I think that's super cool. So I'm still pretty entertained with my Pebble.
Very good. And I'm going to agree with you. I still do not think the cost justifies the benefits, because I'm very happy with my Pebble, and maybe it's because I don't know what I'm missing because I don't have it, but I don't miss anything.
The other thing is I don't think I've ever had an electronic device before that I like haven't hated more and more as I had it more.
Mm-hmm.
Like even my iPhone now, like it's mostly fine, but it's like a little irritating sometimes, and like weird stuff happens, and I don't like that. But like the Pebble's been fine. It's been like the same, trending slightly better for most of the time I've owned it, and I don't know. I'm just generally pleased. Like I'm not even. Maybe this is probably bad for Pebble, but I'm not even like particularly inclined to like go buy the new get the new
Yep.
version of the Pebble that's coming out this year or next year or
Yep.
whenever.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe the next year's Kickstarter I'll get a new watch, but for now I'm pretty pleased.
You're a satisfied customer.
Indeed.
I think we talked about how we all love AirPods, and I think we're all on board to see what happens with those. One thing we totally neglected to mention was double cameras on the 7 Plus. I don't know how we missed that. 2 cameras, both rear facing, each has a different focal length, which is interesting. And so they create what's known as a software zoom. So they're not physically zooming, but because you have 2 different focal lengths, you can actually adjust and have a more aggressive zoom. And also adjust the depth as well in post, because you have both focal lengths taken at the same time. That will only be available on the 7 Plus. The 7 does have a better camera, at 12 megapixel with a new flash and optical image stabilization, which had previously only been available on the 7 or on the 6 Plus, but it will not have the double cameras. Now that was going to be my next question. Was iPhone 7? Now I know Dan, you said you were. You were timed for an upgrade. I know I was timed for an upgrade. Colby, you were
I mean,
kind of...
I wasn't actually, but I got one anyways.
You already got one?
Oh
Yeah.
wow. So I think I'm gonna do the Apple upgrade program, but you have to go to the store to sign up for that, and that's not a thing that
What
I've
is
done yet.
the Apple upgrade program?
Like it's like you sort of what you would do with your carrier, but like every year you can just like upgrade. You can give them your phone back and get
you
a new one.
Apple Care as well.
Yeah,
But what you can also, but you pay monthly.
correct.
Yeah, you can also just trade it in. So I'm gonna trade mine in, and I think I get like $250+ for
Oh wow.
the success. So yeah,
So what'd you order, Dan?
the Piano Black's regular 7.
You went with the Jet Black. You're crazy.
Piano Black, Jet Black, whatever.
You're
Yeah,
crazy.
sure, why not?
You rolling the dice. And how big a storage you get? Because now it doesn't start at 16. It starts at goes from 32 to
Well, with the
128.
Piano Black, you can either get 128 or 256. I think like they force you up to the next one. So
I think so. I was thinking about that, and I looked at my current phone, and I like currently use like 28 gigs. So it's like I'm not going to get the 32 and only have
I think that's
have
why they
no
did
room
that.
to grow at all. Yeah, that's brutal. I'm sure they know too. Like they know how much space everyone uses on their phones. Jerks.
I use 50 gigabytes on mine now. I have the 64 model.
That's crazy.
I've got
Sean.
too much. I never delete a photo. So I
just don't take photos.
and I take stupid photos of like food and stuff.
I take like one photo when I go places instead of many photos.
But it's a really great photo. To be completely honest, I'm kind of amazed because this is the first time in this. I think my current iPhone 6 has to be probably the 7th cell phone I've ever owned in all the years that I've had smartphones and cell phones, and this is the first time I feel absolutely no need to upgrade. Absolutely no need. I really don't. And I'm genuinely wondering if I should wait a year. My phone is in perfect shape. It works great. Every feature is awesome. I don't feel I'm missing anything from the new phone. If I wait a year for the iPhone 8, which as rumor has it is going to be the big whiz-bang super best iPhone ever all time, why rush now? Have the inconvenience of the lightning headphone thing, not really get anything new. Then I got to wait probably another 2 years before I'm going to upgrade again.
So that's the reason that I'm thinking about doing the upgrade program is that A, if I totally screw it up, I have Apple Care, and B, in a year from now, I can just switch with like no, relatively little consequences if it is as crazy as it's being hyped to be. I don't know. I don't
know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But Dan will be a good test case for us.
Yeah.
I want to see the Jet Black. To be honest, I'm kind of glad you got that because I'm very because then there was all
I always take one for the team for the
There's-
show. I'm still the only person doing the Apple Watch challenge.
It's true.
I think we've all done it now and again. Colby took the Pebble challenge. I'm taking the Alexa challenge, which is still great. we all take our respective challenges. Dan takes the expensive ones. That's the problem. Dan rolls the although Colby was the first with the new MacBook, so that's probably the biggest
Yeah.
challenge.
And how much money has he spent on light bulbs so far?
Actually, they're really not that expensive, but I am
$30.
up to 5 of them. And I got the wall switch.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sean,
it's-
those are you got the Philips ones, right?
Yeah, they're really not that
Oh,
expensive.
yeah,
No, but I don't get like the nice colored Philips ones. I don't get the $80
just the
ones.
regular LEDs.
Yeah, they're like $20. They are not that
Gotcha.
expensive. No,
Gotcha.
no. I would love the colored ones, but they are out. But no, actually, I use one for the studio right here now, which is great because I can dim them. So anyway, so I know we'll have to stick around and see what we'll do about the phones in the future. You'll have to keep tuning in to find out. I think that was a pretty good roundup of a I guess we can say interesting Apple announcement. I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but I would say, I don't know. These have stopped. It was funny. Last weekend, I was reading an article and they had a link to an old Steve Jobs announcement. So I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go back on YouTube and rewatch some of the old announcements. And I realized, why those were good?
Why?
It wasn't Steve Jobs, although Steve Jobs was amazing. Will always be an amazing presenter. It's because the things Apple were presenting then were new.
Yeah,
Everything Apple announces, their competitors have had for months.
Indeed.
You know, dual camera phones, those have been around for 6 months. Those aren't new. I mean, wireless earbuds, those aren't new. I mean, yeah, Apple does them better, but, you know, I watched specifically...
I guess, like, was the iPad new? Like,
no. But like, specifically, I'll give you an example. Maybe this is just the little things, but I was watching the iPhone 2.0 software update back before it was iOS, and they were talking about push notification services, which was, at the time, kind of a big deal because your phones, you used to have to go in and manually pull your emails or whatever, and they were talking about having a server in the cloud where your app would sync to, where you would send notifications so the app wouldn't have to always be running on your phone. That was a new idea. They hadn't done that before. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it was amazing to watch because now it's like, well, duh, but back then, I don't know. You just don't see as much of that anymore. And I
have a question. At that time, were they calling it the cloud? Like, did the cloud exist at that time?
They did. Well, at least in that announcement. And the other thing, what was funny was in that announcement was when they announced Mobile Me, if you remember Mobile Me.
I do.
And that was the first time Apple was talking about having your mail in the cloud and your calendar in the cloud and syncing across your Mac and all your devices. And we all know how big of a success Mobile Me is. I'm sure you should still use your @me.com email address. But, yeah, good times. But appreciate everybody joining us and chatting about that, especially our live viewers on Facebook at facebook.com/don'tpanicshow. If you have any thoughts or questions about our discussion on Apple, let us know. Comment on Facebook right now, and we might talk about it in the waning minutes of the show. But now we have to get to picks because we are, as usual on these Apple episodes, running over time. And we've got some things to talk about. And we're going to start this week with Dan because I need his review on this because I'm still not sure if I'm going to watch it or not. So,
oh, man.
What's the scoop?
Okay, so throughout most of July, I heard people talking about the Stranger Things show, and I was like, as I suspect you are right now, Sean, I was like, okay, whatever, great. Like, some sort of, like, circle-jerky 80s love fest sounds awful, because the 80s were kind of the worst. No? Disagree?
In terms of pop culture, the 80s were the best decade. It doesn't get better than the 80s. Dan, we got to have you on up for debate. We got to do a whole episode on this. I think this is a no-brainer.
Compared to the 70s.
Look, nobody loves the 70s more than I do.
I think you even got to give the 90s a nod before the 80s.
No,
okay, anyways. That's another story.
All right.
Okay, so I watched the first episode, and it was great. In fact, having now watched all of the episodes, it's the best. It's the best show I've watched since Game of Thrones. People really like Breaking Bad. I didn't much care for it was good. It was really good, but I wasn't invested. Like, the premise and the setting wasn't the most fascinating for me. Mm-hmm. I like some things that are a little fantastical, a little bizarre. And Breaking Bad was excellent, but was not really weird. Stranger Things is weird. It's slightly scary. It's touching and heartbreaking and adorable. It's great. So I watched it in over about a week, I would say. It's got this, it reminds me a lot of Twin Peaks, which I think I picked on this show, sort of a similar 90s cult TV hit. It's sort of like a supernatural crime drama, government conspiracy theory thing, but the child actors kill it. The best child actors I can ever think. It's almost supernatural how good at acting they are. Almost every other, even movies. Whenever you see a child in a movie, you're like, okay, this kid's has no idea what they're doing. Mm-hmm. If they're 10 years old or younger. Whereas these kids somehow, they sell it, and you feel like the Goonies. It reminds me of the caliber of acting for the children in the Goonies. You feel like you're just part of this group of kids. and all you care about is like you're gonna go home and play video games and hang out with your friends, and that's like your biggest care in the world. Like I was sold on it. Stranger Things on Netflix, Netflix original. Check it out. And sadly, we have to wait like 2 years for the next season to come out. So thankfully, though, and you will also be just as thankful when you finish it, they decided not to go with their original idea of an anthology approach where they would not carry over any of the characters. Because there's one character two characters in particular who are just amazing. And if either of you watch it, I would love to know who you think your two favorite characters are.
I think I know because Twitter has not shut up about certain people. So I have a sneaking suspicion I know who that might be.
Have you watched this, Colby?
No, I haven't. It's so. Is it scary?
It's not really scary. It is, I think, less scary than season 1 of True Detective. Not much less, but it's not like a horror movie.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like an edgier. It's like Goonies, but scarier.
Gotcha.
Like actually scary, not just like goofy.
So I've never seen Goonies, but I think eventually I will watch both of those things.
I would. Oh yeah.
But I haven't yet.
It's great.
I haven't. I did.
It's same how like Mad Men gets like period piece of the 60s. Like it's fun to watch Mad Men because it's just visually fascinating because so much attention to detail is paid. Stranger Things managed to do that for the 80s. It's just fun to look at what they put together. It's like just to look around the living room of this kid's house. Just to look at the cars driving down the street. Just look at the clothes that the kids are. It's so much fun to watch.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, Dan, I would like to point out two things. One, great Goonies reference from the best decade of pop culture, the 80s. And
that's true. I was going to say, Goonies is one of the shining stars of the 80s.
Oh, you know, of course, if you forget about E.T. or Jaws or Indiana Jones or
Indiana Jones,
Star Wars, or
E.T. Jaws, I think are, I don't know if those hold.
And what was the other thing I was going to mention? Shoot. Dang. No, I forgot.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Any good movies from the 80s? Die Hard.
But, okay.
Best movie ever made. That was from the 80s, right? God, I hope so. Okay, anyway, I'm going to quickly get through my pick because my quick is... I didn't... in setting a new low bar for what we consider to be a pick on our technology show, I have picked gummy bears. Yes, literally gummy bears. That's not a joke. I'm serious. Gummy bears.
World's best.
World's best. So a friend I've always loved gummy bears, but I always get like the Haribo kind of just your standard run of the mill. And a coworker of mine said you got to try Albanese World's Best gummy bears. And I'm always suspicious when something is world's best because it usually never is. And so I've got my bag of gummy bears here, and you can see I got to switch my camera back here.
Good Foley work again.
Oh yeah, I mean it's authentic for sure. That we've got some delicious looking gummy bears, and I will say I prefer a harder gummy bear. These are very soft, so just keep that in mind. These are the world's best gummy bears. You know when you get a bag of gummy bears?
Check out right now.
They're delicious.
Oh man!
And you know how you get a bag of gummy bears and they all kind of taste the same? These have extremely distinct flavors. The flavor on these is the best I've ever had in a gummy bear. So they are $5 a bag on Amazon. Albanese, world's best. They have gummy bears, gummy worms, gummy butterflies, which I didn't even know was a thing. If you like gummy bears, I highly recommend you check these out. So that's my technology pick this week. Albanese, world's best gummy bears.
All right.
This just in, Jaws was 1975, Sean.
Oh, son of a bitch. I'm not very good with movies. I should have known that was Spielberg's early work. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that was the 80s.
I've never even heard of that movie. I'm just kidding. I haven't seen it, though.
I will watch Stranger Things if it means I get to win this argument. Colby, you have two picks.
Well, one of them I already picked, which is the
that's right.
Pebble JavaScript developer
And we'll
kit.
have the link to that on the website.
Yeah, both of these are quick picks. And the second one is that we were talking about movies that we saw this summer. And I saw Popstar. I contributed to my my winnings in the draft. But the other movie I saw was Sausage Party, which is that weird animated movie by Seth Rogen about food. And I found it actually like surprisingly enjoyable. I had going in there, the bar was very low. But I thought, I mean, it's like really raunchy and gross. But Jill and I had some good laughs, and it's I don't know, this story is surprisingly thoughtful and like, I thought well done. So if you're, I think it's still out some places. So if you want to go see something that's pretty light but definitely very adult, it's worth it. Worth a couple bucks for a few laughs. Also, the movie, I just remembered this, but the movie theater I go to normally now has a bar, and you can get like beer and take it into the theater, but the beers are as comically oversized as like the soft drinks are. So I had a huge beer, so it's possible that influenced my opinion of the movie. But it was great. It was whereas I never want to drink the huge soda, I definitely wanted to drink the huge beer. So props to Regal for
Up in their game.
Yeah.
Very good. Sausage Party coming to a Blockbuster video store near you. All right, guys. That's it.
All right.
We're done. Can you believe it?
Woo!
We went long. How long did we go? We went an hour and 10 minutes. We went long. But I think we had some really great discussions and some really good excuses to spend some money. So, a successful Apple event, in my opinion. I appreciate everyone out there for joining us, especially those of you who watched live on Facebook, facebook.com/Don't Panic Show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, Monday nights. On that page, according to Facebook, we reached 367 people. We reached out and touched you with some technology news. You're welcome. But of course, if you can't join us live, you can always go to our website 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, don'tpanic.io. All of our episodes, past, present, and future, are there. Audio, video, links to every pick we discuss on the show are there. And, of course, the links to subscribe on all the major platforms from iTunes and Stitcher to Google Play Music and TuneIn, on RSS, most major podcast apps. Of course, HD video on YouTube at youtube.com/Don't Panic Show. And, gosh, what else am I forgetting? And, of course, on Twitter, at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. You can follow us there and get links when the show goes live or episodes get published. We will be back next Monday with more tech news. Gentlemen, anything else you would like to say before we wrap it up?
No. I'll see Colby this weekend. It'll be exciting.
Oh, is this Hamilton weekend?
Hamilton weekend.
Oh, look at you.
It's going to be crazy.
That's right. Well, I expect a full report next week. That's going to be very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lot of fun in the Big Apple, as they still call it that, right?
Yep.
That's still a thing. The Big Apple.
People who don't live here. Yeah.
New York, New York. The
Place
city
so nice
that
they named it
never
twice.
sleeps. The Windy City. All right. No, no, that's not right. Everybody, thanks for joining us. On behalf of Colby, Dan, this is Sean. Wishing you well and hoping we'll see you next time for more tech news here on Don't Panic.